3 makes half. Tensions are flaring over who Steve's shield rightfully belongs to, old secrets from the past that are being dug up, new enemies taking the stage, and old ones join the fray. By all rights, Sam Wilson and Bucky Barnes have plenty on their plate, and so do we, the viewers. Despite how busy they are fighting the good fight, the show is still gracious enough to leave references and Easter eggs all over the place after all. And it would be a shame for us not to eagerly pick them up. Here it is! Madripoor! The country whose name had Marvel fans freaking out when it was first revealed in trailers. But why would Marvel fans be so excited about a random Southeast Asian island? Well, because it's not random. The island city-state of Madripoor is a very important location in Marvel lore, more specifically in relation to the X-Men, as it has been the primary setting for quite a few stories and provided home bases and origins for several characters. Wolverine, for example, called the place home for a while and even took a lover there named Jessin Hone, also known as the criminal Tiger. It was also under the rule of Ophelia Sarkeesian, better known as the villainous Viper, for a long time. It rests on the back of a giant dragon that Daredevil enemy faction The Hand once tried to reawaken, and it even served as the base of operations for major X-Men villain Magneto when he was housing the time-displaced young versions of the original X-Men from the 60s. Yeah, that's kind of a long story. The point is, Madripoor is a major location in the Marvel Universe, and to see it in the MCU is an absolute delight for fans. One of the criminals Bucky, Sam, and Zemo meet while doing their business in Madripoor is a woman named Selby, and when your job is to look for Marvel Easter eggs, this is where you immediately pause the episode and go Googling. And sure enough, there do exist several somewhat one-note characters by the name of Selby in the comics. But none of them seem to have all that much in common with the character we see here, making the name little more than a sly reference. The two most notable characters it could refer to are Suzanne Selby, who once briefly wielded the as-of-yet not established in the MCU Star Brand power, or the Mutant Liberation Front member going by the codename Selby, who was capable of communicating directly with computers. So, an X-Men character. Madripoor? That's a connection, right? Yeah, no, not a lot of connections to be found to the gray-haired female crime lord we meet in the show, but hey, even small Easter eggs have a right to be found.
If we have to do something about this, I'm the only one who looks like a pimp.
Oh, MCU writers. Even your throwaway jokes are references to infamous comic book retcons. Thank you for giving me so much friggin' work to do. For context, Sam Wilson's comic book origins as the Falcon was as a kind of social worker who took to superheroics simply because it was the right thing to do. At least, until the story from the 70s, written by Steve Englehart, revealed that these were actually fake memories and that Sam was originally a hard-boiled, drug-dealing pimp named Snap Wilson, who the Red Skull had manipulated into becoming a mole to spy on and eventually betray Captain America. To say that fans weren't too fond of this stereotype-laden origin story would be putting it mildly, and the later writer Rick Remender quickly retconned this and made the Snap personality the actual fake memories in a sort of double fake-out. So really, Sam's gaudy outfit in this episode is a quick jab to a writing kerfuffle almost as ridiculous as the outfit itself. Now, whether or not Sam looks like a pimp in his disguise as Madripoor criminal Conrad Mack may be up for debate, but it's an indisputable fact that even a name as minor as Conrad Mack, or as we learn that he is also called Smiling Tiger, is taken from an obscure Marvel Comics villain. In the comics, Conrad Mack was the son of a Vietnam War veteran named Collier Mack, who got involved with the so-called Cult of the Dragon's Breath when he and his unit called the Half-Fulls were stationed in Cambodia. With the cult being located right above a magical dimensional rift that they called the Well of All Things, they had worked for generations to breed a new species of human with extraordinary powers by tapping into the Well's power, and when Collier was coerced into taking one of the Brides of the Dragon's Breath as his lover, she gave birth to Conrad. Born with feral qualities and trained in combat skills by his father, Conrad later became the supervillain known as the Smiling Tiger when one of Collier's old buddies, now calling himself Left Hand, found him and recruited him to be part of the supervillain team The Folding Circle. After a fight with the superhero team New Warriors, the Folding Circle stole an Avengers Quinjet and eventually crash-landed in, where else? Madripoor. And once there, they quickly climbed the ranks in the criminal underworld. Now, I'm not sure how comic book accurate the idea of Mac drinking snake guts is, but to be perfectly frank, I wouldn't put it past the dude who's maniacal enough to call himself Smiling Tiger. While Helmut Zemo did provide Marvel fans with an epic superhero battle royale way back in Captain America's Civil War, it's hard to deny that he himself was also a little bit of a letdown. He just didn't have much in common with the comic book Zemo, who was the son of a noble and former Captain America villain Heinrich Zemo. He was just kind of some dude with a raging hate-on for superheroes. And that's why fans rejoiced when they saw trailers showing Zemo wearing his trademark purple ski mask and big fur-collared coat that are both much more akin to his comic book outfit, though there's no word yet on that golden crown and belt just yet. On top of that, his wealth and noble status has been restored too. The one new addition that doesn't seem to be from the comics is his family butler Oznik, but he's worth noting for a different reason. He is played by none other than Nicholas Pryor, who played a small part in an espionage thriller from 1985 titled, and hold on to your hats now, The Falcon and the Snowman. Anybody on board with Bucky switching codenames? That just ain't superheroics without some mad scientists thrown into the mix, now is it? That super serum the Flag Smashers have taken and that the Power Broker is so eager to get back has to come from somewhere, and after doing a bit of digging in Madripoor, our heroes, and Zemo, eventually traced them back to a scientist named Dr. Wilfred Nagel. Nagel is surprisingly eager to boast that yes, he is indeed the genius that managed to reverse engineer the super soldier serum from the blood of an American test subject. A test subject by the name of Isaiah Bradley, the Black Captain America that was kept a secret from the world for decades. And that is indeed true. Wilfred Nagel and Isaiah Bradley do indeed have a history in the comics. But interestingly enough, their roles have been switched this time. Originally, Wilfred Nagel was hired by the American military to recreate the super soldier serum during World War II while Steve was still an active soldier in the field. And it was him who performed awful experiments on a whopping 300 African American soldiers in order to eventually create Isaiah, the only survivor of the experiments. This time, with Isaiah being a Vietnam War vet and Nagel being a much younger character, it's Isaiah who has essentially created him by giving him the means to recreate super soldier serum and gain some level of power in the criminal underworld. Not that he's gonna be enjoying that or make more super soldier serum anytime soon on account of, Zemo. Obscure villains, characters being brought more in line with their comic book counterparts, and comic book accurate locations? These are the kind of wonderful Easter eggs us comic book nerds live and breathe for. We're halfway through the show now, and there'll surely be more Easter eggs to gobble up in the future.